Hi, Joel here. Welcome to officially episode 6, because the last episode that I did was only a 5-ish because it was so short and punchy. But this episode 6 officially, is my catch-up episode, the one that I actually promised a couple of days ago, but over the last few days as I've tried to film this episode, I have faced so many, it's funny, I want to say challenges because they are challenges, but I know that what comes to mind when I say that is probably the things that maybe feel insurmountable. But it's literally been the challenge of the postman has arrived literally midway through filming, or my neighbours come back from their walk to the park with their toddler children, and where I'm filming for the best light obviously is right in front of the bay window, right in front of our shared front garden. And he'll be looking at me out of the window, and I'll be kind of doing a little sly wave just to kind of be like, hey, acknowledge. But long and short is I have meant to come round to doing this, but at least we're here now. I'm happy to be here. Hopefully you're happy to be here. And this episode, I am going to be talking specifically about something that we've touched on before, but something that I've really kind of been giving more thought to, and that is luck, and whether or not we are the creators of our own luck. So let's dive in with the episode. So I've talked about luck before in previous episodes. In fact, I think I've mentioned one of my favourite quotes from Gary Player, that the more I practice, the luckier I get, a couple of times, because the nature of luck and how it ends up in our lives, whether or not luck is something that you believe in. I recognise that of late, recently, for so many of the challenges that are in my life, I also recognise how lucky I am. And it made me start to think to myself, well, aside from the real lottery luck of where we are born, which families we're born into, I recognise that that's luck that I had no hand in. That there is a perspective, there is an argument that that I am not as lucky as some, but I think that I always like to look at it as I am always more lucky than others. And I think one of the key perspective switches that people can affect in their own lives for a blast of it's not false positivity, but it is a realistic, a pragmatic positivity. And that is to remember that, the media and the world of aspiration and capitalism will have you always looking up. But it's always worthwhile remembering to look down. And in that looking down, it's not to be looking down your nose at somebody or looking down at anybody, but it's to look down to recognize how far up and how elevated we actually are. I recognise the privileges that I have that have afforded me the ability to now create my own luck in the environment in which I live. But again, a little bit of a segue there. What I want to do, which is a bit unorthodox for how I've done these episodes previously, is actually start with my quote of the week. And this is a different quote than the Gary Player quote, but it's a quote which I suppose rumbles along on similar lines. The quote is from James Clear, and it is, "You can increase your surface area for good luck by taking action. The forager who explores widely will find lots of useless terrain, but is also more likely to stumble across a bountiful berry patch than the person who stays home. Similarly, the person who works hard, pursues opportunity, and tries more things is more likely to stumble across a lucky break than the person who waits." So, I think that quote, as a compound on top of the old quote, kind of has really struck me. And over the last couple of days as well, I've been having conversations with my wife and with other people about where I feel I'm at, where people feel they're at with their life plan, with their life journey, the hero's journey, what's going on, where are we at, what are we doing, and it made me realise that I suppose in this heightened time of coronavirus, Brexit, us having a couple of children, another one on the way now, made me realise that I suppose I've been very much invested in the day-to-day and kind of keeping the proverbial wolf from the door as opportunities have kind of changed in their nature, as our social environment has kind of come to change and morph during this coronavirus. And I realised that I maybe hadn't taken stock for a while of where I am in that life plan, and am I on the right track? And that right track, is a track set by myself. But yeah, interestingly, after having the conversation, particularly the one with my wife, I recognised that at least individually, I'm actually more on track than I had given myself credit for. And when talking about it with my wife, I characterised it in a conversation before going for the deep dive and thinking and reflecting, that I was just like, well, I've been quite lucky that a number of things have kind of come to pass in a way that have made my career path maybe manifest a lot easier than I would have imagined. And so I kind of thought about that for a minute, and then I recognized that very much in line with those quotes, that I've actually been consciously setting a path, and then it becomes kind of obvious that if you're on that path, the luck that you require to continue servicing your journey in that direction will only continue to be more bountiful once the path that you've chosen is pretty much direct and selected. So what I mean by that is, I've had lots of opportunities where people have come to me and said, well, for example, do you want to be part of our new broadcast and media distribution channel and network, whether that be at I Am Sound, whether that be the D Studio guys at Seeds, whether or not that's been opportunities like me speaking on the BBC, on Plant-Based News, or any of the other different vegan media as well. But the point being is, the reason why those offers have come is because I made a conscious decision 5 years ago now, or just over 5 years ago, to go vegan and to stick on that path. And so it's not really luck as to why vegan operators and people from outside of the mainstream operators want to ask my opinion on veganism, on sustainability, on this kind of life, because they're asking me because I've made that my life. And so I dictated where the luck would go. And so then it has meant that you, in essence, by narrowing your path, you also, like the quote, you narrow the surface area that is required to come across more and more of these opportunities. There was another quote that I read that, again, falls along similar lines. I don't have the quote, so I'll kind of paraphrase. But it is with regard to people kind of sometimes believe that when you have an opportunity or somebody offers you an opportunity that you have to grab that one. But actually, the offering of that opportunity speaks less to the opportunity and more to the place where you now find yourself, which is in the slipstream of where opportunities can come and will find you. And so the fact that an opportunity has found you speaks more to the fact that you are now ready for opportunities to be given to, as opposed to you were lucky enough for someone to find you to give you this one. Because invariably, unless we're talking about some kind of extreme Hollywood story, the opportunity that lands at someone's door is an opportunity that suits the path that they were going on. Thinking even, for example, of an old one now, kind of again giving away my age, but we're all old, aren't we, in the scheme of things? But anyway, my point being, Eminem, 8 Mile. You get the opportunity to perform your freestyle, your rap on the stage, which will kind of give you then the chance to meet the record producer who signs you and changes your world. Now, you look at that and be like, well, yeah, as the song 8 Mile said, you only get that one shot, so don't miss your chance to blow. The opportunity comes once in a lifetime. But I think when you actually break that down, and even break down the story of that film, Rabbit, Eminem, the character in that film, made a number of sacrifices to make sure that he was in the place where the opportunity was going to be. And so I think sometimes people mistake the idea of opportunity finding you for you finding the opportune moment for opportunity to find you. And so, yeah, my view on all of this and my view on luck is that I've been lucky to find myself now in the on the right track and on the right path for a future which speaks to the values which I hold dear. Even having these conversations weekly, which, like, I mean, at the moment, you know, I'm not publicizing them, like, you know, per se. Every now and again, like, you know, people who ask me about what I'm doing, I will share the videos, go and check it out. But as I said, for now, for me, this is about me building up a head of steam. This is about me developing accountability to myself, a consistency. We've been able to turn up and make these videos even as postmen knock, delivery people come to the door, my daughter, my neighbour's children or others, create distractions here and now in this moment, while I'm yet to you know, like, manifest a full studio where I can keep my gear up and I can kind of walk in, film as and when I please, opposed to this kind of like nomadic like video creation existence which I'm doing or I have at the moment. But again, what I recognize though is that by fronting up to these challenges, as small, as innocuous as they sometimes are, but challenges nevertheless, is actually the more resilient you become, the more ready you become to be able to face up to bigger challenges as they arrive. Because similar to the training, like, you know, the routine that I stick to every single day with, like, you know, the press ups, the crunches, the weighted squats, similar to with the intermittent fasting, like every single day they become easier, like, you know, slightly, because your muscles, your brain, your whole being becomes used to routines and learns how to fill those routines, pour yourself into the routines. The routine ends up giving you a parameter in which you can then kind of grow and measure your ultimate growth. Side note on that last week, I actually gained a whole minute on my circuit train, because I mean, I don't know what the because is, but some weeks I'm really strong, other weeks, like, you know, I apparently not as much. However, you know, I still consistently do it. And ultimately, another quote of mine, sorry to really segue on this, a favourite that my old personal trainer used to say was that no matter how slow you're going, you're lapping the person who's still sat on the sofa. So for myself as well, even though I've been adding time rather than trimming away time from my workout, ultimately I'm still getting stronger, I'm still doing it, and I'm still lapping the times when I wasn't doing it at all. So pat on my own back. But anyway, that was a bit of a segue. The point being, again, here, that it's consistency. Consistency creates the conditions that allow luck to manifest, that allow chance and opportunity to welcome their way into your life. And so I think, yeah, really the takeaway from this episode, or what I'm kind of really trying to drive at, is a reminder that things can take a long time, and that the green shoots, or the roots, or I was remembering Ruby as we talk of anything, don't show immediately. This plant didn't begin like with all of this like leaves and all of these vines and all of these roots. It began as a seed which we couldn't even see under the ground, and then bit by bit it gestated, it grew, it poked its head through, and now we have this resilient, beautiful plant here. Similar with our ideas, similar with ourselves, that they may not seem at the beginning as if they're manifesting, but it is that dedication to the consistency. It's the turning up for ourselves, turning up for yourself. It's being accountable. It's not seeing those challenges and obstacles as excuses as to why not to do it, but to laugh your way through them and see those as the anecdotes and the challenges that actually make you better at your craft and help you to persevere and to push on. Because ultimately, as the challenges do get bigger and harder, it is that early work that you did to make yourself more resilient, more strong, that now carries you through when the going gets tough. So yeah, I'm very lucky to be involved in so many of the things that I am currently, whether or not they are like manifesting the full length and breadth of what it is that I hope to do in each of these different like roles and silos that I have. Like, maybe not, but again, this is testament to that point that they are all still very nascent at the beginning of so many of these journeys. But what I am happy about is that the journeys that I am now committed on are the right roads for me. I don't have to now worry that I'm going up the wrong road fast or at any kind of speed. I know that even if I am not going as fast as I might like in the moment, at least I'm on the right road. I no longer have to worry or question myself about how I reconcile my morals and my values with my purpose or the things that I'm doing in this world to bring value to myself and to others around me. I now feel that finally, after so many years, that I've come to a place where not only my growth and wealth machinations or models for expansion and scaling now actually fit within a regenerative model. I don't have to worry that that my come up is at the expense of somebody else's come down. That I've now found a network of people, a network of projects and protocols even to apply to my life and how I go about my work that will ultimately benefit not only me and those around me, but future generations, my children, other people's children, and that things that I am now doing, I can have a real sense of legacy in them. So yeah, I think that's my my catch-up episode, which, as I said, this was meant to be like part of last week's content, which now means that this week's content will be another catch-up video. But there's actually so many other things that I do want to talk about, but I'm really happy that we had this opportunity to just, have a benchmark moment, stop, take stock of what luck is, and just to, again, for all of us, consider how lucky we are and how best that we can manipulate and manifest the luck that we do have to our ultimate benefit. So thank you for tuning in for another episode. Again, if you are enjoying listening to me talking and do want to get involved one way or the other, whether or not it's with the podcast as it develops or coming to get involved in the conversations as we kind of continue developing along this path, please do reach out, please do subscribe, please do comment. And otherwise, I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thanks very much. Bye.